Hey, what's up YouTube? Today we're going to be reviewing the HTC Evo 4G LTE. I've been using this phone for a little over a week now, finally ready to make this video, so we're going to get straight to it. So when I'm buying a phone, what I look for is great hardware, great software, and cameras, right? So hardware wise, I would say coming from the HTC Evo, the original one, and then to the Evo 3D and this one, I would say that this is probably the best Evo out of all three of them. It's got the best hardware, it's got the best screen that I've seen on a smartphone, and it has a really premium build quality. It's got this metal band that goes all around the phone, which gives it a nice feel in the hand. It's not very heavy at all, but you still, you know, you're holding an HTC phone. You're not holding a crappy Samsung device or an LG device. It actually feels very reminiscent to the iPhone 4 and 4S with that metal band all around. So it has a 4.7-inch Super LCD 2 display. It's an HD display, so it has a resolution of 720 by 1280. It's got a 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera that's able to record 720p HD video, which is great. It's got this recessed camera grill here. Speaker grill, and it has an LED notification in there, which is actually pretty unique. It's basically hidden, so it's not taking up any space up at the top there, and that's pretty nice. You do have 3 capacitive buttons, so you don't have any virtual buttons like you do on the Galaxy Nexus, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Up at the top here, you have your 3.5mm headset jack. You have your secondary microphone for noise cancellation. Your power button, which is actually very clicky, very responsive. It's actually a really good button, especially coming from like an Evo 3D. You're really gonna like this button there. On the side, you're going to have your volume rocker, which is actually pretty difficult to see, but they're nice and clicky, and you know, they're great buttons there. On the side here, you're going to have your camera button there, so it's a camera shutter button, and I don't know why my camera isn't focusing, but anyway, you have your button right there to take pictures. It's not, you know, sticking out too much, so it's not going to get tied to your pocket or whatever. It's not going to get stuck or anything, so it's pretty good. Then down on the bottom you have your primary microphone, and then nothing here. It's just smooth. It's got like a nice matte finish down on the bottom. On the left side, you're not going to have anything at all except your micro USB port to charge and to plug it into your computer and whatnot. On the back of the phone here, you have your 8 megapixel sensor, which is able to take 720p and 1080p video. You have one LED flash there. Then you have this metal band that divides these two pieces right here. So you're going to have 2 textures. You're going to have this shiny, glossy black up at the top there, and then a matte finish on the bottom. And then this band right here is actually a kickstand. The kickstand is actually very solid, very well built by HTC. You can actually prop your phone this way, you can do it this way, and then you can also prop it up standing up this way. So it's a very cool design. And I was actually very impressed by the kickstand. On the original Evo, it was a little bit flimsy, so if you prop your phone up this way, it wasn't very solid. With this one here, it's not going to go anywhere, and it's actually not going to really get loose or anything. It's a little bit difficult to actually get it out if you don't have nails. So once you get it out, you know, you're good to go. Very solid. Down the bottom, you're going to have the Sprint logo, and then your speaker there. The speaker's actually pretty good. It's not too loud, it's not too low. It's a little bit better than the Galaxy Nexus, so in that department, you're pretty good. Now, the display is a Super LCD 2 display, and you know, my camera and any other camera on YouTube isn't going to do it justice. It's a really gorgeous display. It's got great viewing angles. With my Galaxy Nexus, if you just tilt it slightly to the right or to the left or anywhere, you're going to see this blue tint, and it just changes as soon as you start to do this. With the Evo 4G LTE, you can literally have it like this, and you can still be watching a movie or YouTube or anything. The display looks like it's sprayed, it's like painted on, or it's really insane. Like, I don't know if you've ever gone to a Sprint store or any cell phone store, and then they have those dummy phones where it just has a sticker, and it's basically giving you a view as to what the phone is actually going to look like once you turn it on. Well, that's what that looks like. And I don't think I have it up to the highest setting. This is the highest setting right here. It's super bright, and it's actually very good when you're out and about, you're driving around, and the sun is hitting your phone. It's going to be very visible, and it's actually in my opinion, it's a lot better than the Super AMOLED Plus and Super AMOLED that you find on the Samsung phones. I would say it's a little bit better than the iPhone display, but that's just my opinion. Obviously, a lot of people are going to say that that's not true and blah blah blah. But the display is really, really solid. It's actually Gorilla Glass. Although I wouldn't really get too crazy with Gorilla Glass. I wouldn't, you know, take a key to the screen or just rock the phone without a screen protector. I am doing it because I'm reviewing it for this channel, and I wanted to actually get the full effect of not having a screen shield and just you know, just digging the screen without the screen shield. However, if I bought this and I was actually going to use it for myself, I would most likely put on a screen shield. So that's basically hardware. The HD video and the front-facing camera is actually pretty decent. The one on the back, the 720p and 1080p video is actually, it's good. It's got good colors. It's not very stable though. It's a little bit shaky and wonky, and it has a hard time autofocusing on specific things. You do have the option though of tapping to focus on something, and then that helps the camera. But I think if you're trying to record something, maybe you're at a graduation or you're at the beach or whatever, and you're recording something, you really don't want to be tapping. So that's something that could potentially be solved with a software update. So we're just gonna have to wait and see on that. Battery life, that's something that I forgot to mention in terms of hardware. You actually can't remove the battery, so that's in my opinion, that's a big letdown. I go through batteries like crazy. I'm pulling in about 5 email accounts on top of Facebook, Instagram, and you know, all that stuff. That can kill your battery. Now, you do get about 8 hours of solid battery, which is crazy, and I was actually able to get the 8 hours. I don't know how many they're advertising, but I was able to get about 8 hours of battery life, which is, you know, unheard of. On my Galaxy Nexus, I think I have about 4 hours to 4.5 hours, and then I have to swap it out. So as good as battery life is on the Evo 4G LTE, the bummer is that you actually can't replace it. Now that could be a bad thing for some of us, like me. I can't go with the phone that I can't swap the battery. You know, I can't actually plug it in and then wait and not do anything with my phone. I actually have to, you know, be calling people and emailing people because of work. So that's something that was a big letdown. But if you're not that type, and you can actually set your phone down for a few hours, and it actually charges really fast. Within an hour and a half to 2 hours, it was completely charged. So that's something to keep an eye on. So in terms of software, we're just going to make this a 2-part video. In terms of software, it is running the latest build of Android, which is Android Ice Cream Sandwich, Android 4.0. I said Android twice, but go figure. It is running Ice Cream Sandwich, and it has an overlay of HTC Sense. Now, some of you are really going to dig Sense, and then some of us really might want to just go with stock ICS. There's no option to actually dual boot into stock ICS, so you're basically booting into Sense. Now, coming from the original Evo, which I owned, Sense was okay. It wasn't too over the top. With the Evo 3D, they went a little too crazy. They did a lot of they had a lot of visual effects. They had this thing called the carousel, so if you swiped really fast between your screens, you got this, you know, infinite loop, and it was a pain in the ass. With Sense 4.0, it's actually it's toned down quite a bit, and it's actually very, very useful, and it's not, you know, too over the top. So you're gonna get some customizations, like in terms of the folders, they're gonna look a little bit different as opposed to stock ICS. The multitasking button there is gonna be a little bit different compared to stock Ice Cream Sandwich. Your docks are going to look a little bit different. The app drawer is going to look a lot different, and you have this cube interface where if you swipe here, you're going to get that. You're going to be able to go into frequent and then downloads, and it's just it's set a little bit different. Now, I don't find it to be a big problem, but that's something that you're gonna have to get used to if you're coming from, like, you know, a stock ICS. If you're used to Sense, it's not going to be that different, and it's going to be a lot smoother. Now, I also forgot to talk about the processor. So this is shipping with the new Qualcomm S4 chipset. So it's a dual core processor, and it's actually pretty good. So we're going to get straight into that right now, and we're going to talk about the rest of the software.